Good morning. I'm Arika Wells, Chair of Women United at the United Way of Tucson and Southern Arizona. Good morning and welcome to the annual Business Leaders for Early Education Breakfast. We miss being with you in person this year, but we hope you are all cozy and enjoying a delicious breakfast and ready to learn about the importance of early childhood education and meet some incredible literacy champions in our community. Come on in. I am proud to represent Women United of United Way Tucson. We're a group of dynamic women who are business, community, and civic leaders eager to bring awareness and critical funding to support early childhood education. The Business Breakfast is Women United's signature event and has grown into one of the largest local events, increasing the community's understanding and support for early education. Last year, more than 700 influential business and community leaders attended the Business Breakfast and helped to raise $113,755 for early childhood education. Wow. These efforts enabled United Way and their partners to distribute more than 200,000 books to children in Pima County. I hope you're enjoying your breakfast, and I'm excited to tell you more about this year's Literacy Champion winners as soon as I change.
Hi, I'm Tony Penn, President and CEO of the United Way of Tucson and Southern Arizona. And thanks for joining us for the 16th Annual Business Breakfast. While I'm missing a room full of business and community champions for early childhood education, I trust that you are joining us virtually. Many of you already understand that investing in quality early education and preparing a child to read early leads to a successful pathway to graduation and beyond. It's also an invaluable investment because it guarantees the success of kids when it comes to third grade reading proficiency, which we know is an extremely important barometer for the success overall. That helps kids do well in 8th grade math. That also helps to make them successful in being able to graduate on time. And we know that those kids who go through a high quality early education facility are the kids who will be most successful. Because of community leaders and leadership like you display, our United Way is proud to be the anchor organization for the Cradle to Career Partnership. Together, we are working to improve educational outcomes for every child in every school from birth to career. I urge every business and community leader watching and being a part of this event today to be a voice for Tucson's young children and do what you can to help them to get the tools they need to be successful. They matter, and they are the workforce and the leaders of the future.
Hello, I'm Joe Salkowski, Senior Director of Communications and Public Affairs for Tucson Electric Power, and TEP is proud to once again be the title sponsor for the United Way of Tucson's Business Breakfast. TEP is powering local education and energizing our community. For a strong future workforce and thriving community, TEP is committed to supporting and promoting educational strategies and systems change that help all children be successful in school and in life. Thank you, all of you, including especially the educators and community leaders who are committed to leading this charge.
5 years ago, Women United introduced the Literacy Champion Awards to the Business Breakfast. This award is given to 2 early childhood educators, preschool to 3rd grade, who have gone above and beyond in bringing the magic and importance of literacy to their students. We are so proud to recognize these amazing educators and thank them for their dedicated service to our children. We've heard for months about how unprecedented the year 2020 was for formal education, most especially early childhood education. Special dynamics of our formative early years, including in-person instruction and social interaction, came to a screeching halt in the name of public health. Educators were forced to adjust their techniques, redevelop ideas, and worked through numerous challenges to ensure learning continued for our students. It was in the spirit of creativity with purpose that Women United chose to recognize reading specialists this year as part of the Literacy Champion Award honorees. We recognize that while we honor classroom teachers who focus on literacy and exalt reading in extraordinary ways, often there are reading specialists as well, doing specialized work in literacy with small groups and individual students who are critical to student success and reading development. With that, congratulations to this year's Literacy Champions, Kristen Cavran from Tanca Verde Community Preschool and Haley Carolyn from Keeley Elementary School. A special shout out to all of this year's finalists, Shanique Hill from Brickta Infant Early Learning Center, Marcy Wagner from Saurita Intermediate School, Kevra Rich, Response to Intervention Reading Specialist from Erickson Elementary, Jill Cordova, Reading Specialist from Butterfield Elementary School, and Jennifer Campbell, Reading Intervention Teacher from Prince Elementary. We hope you enjoyed learning about these amazing teachers and hearing their stories from what we all know has been a difficult year. Thank you to all of our sponsors and to all of you for watching and investing in early childhood education.
My name is Haley Carolyn, and I'm a third grade teacher at Keeling Elementary. I love when a student's light bulb finally goes off after so much perseverance and hard work. To see the pride in their work and how proud they are of themselves, to me that's the best feeling as a teacher. Literacy at this stage of development is critical for them to learn not only how to read, but to love reading. While students are working independently, I pull other students into guided reading groups, which is we will read a passage fluently, and then after reading that, we will act as reading detectives. And we will underline text features, highlight evidence in order to answer questions, and that really helps make them successful readers. It's so important to build those bonds with your students. I build bonds through my interactions with them every day, finding out about their interests in their home life, getting to know what they love to learn about and maybe what their struggles are in learning. I found that goal setting is highly motivating for students in developing their intrinsic motivation. I always start the year by having the students look at their beginning of the year scores on their assessments, and we highlight their strengths and their weaknesses. And then I have a student conference, and we discuss what they can do to make those weaknesses strengths. When students have met or exceeded their goals, they are so proud of themselves and so overjoyed, because often they can become frustrated with a challenge that comes their way, and so getting through that challenge and just having that relief and knowing that they can do hard things is a really proud moment for them. The greatest challenge with teaching during the pandemic has been teaching virtually. It is difficult not being able to use proximity and face-to-face interactions while teaching, in addition to encountering technology issues. However, I'm so proud of my students. They have been resilient during this time and have done an incredible job persevering through all of the challenges and changes that come their way. I have been handling all these issues that come my way just by learning new strategies, collaborating with my co-teachers. I'm constantly learning new ways to reach my students virtually and keep them engaged in their learning. I also have an individual system where they earn points from me, again, for participating, being respectful, persevering through technology. And every Wednesday they come on Zoom and they get to spend their coins and choose from a board of choices. We have Lunch Bunch, Show and Tell, VIP video message where I find teachers around the school to make them a video and tell them how proud they are. I have a mystery mail prize where I send them a prize in the mail. But my favorite one is Lunch Bunch because it's another chance for me to get to know my students and to improve our bond. Donations of any kind would be very beneficial to my students. A lot of them lose their materials and they need new sets of markers or pencils or paper. Technology, some of my students still are in need of a computer at home, or they're trying to use an iPhone to Zoom with me. So that would be extremely helpful. And then just books for them to read at home. I define success as students being excited about their learning and making a year's worth of growth or more. When students persevere through obstacles that come their way, they meet their goals or exceed their goals, and they're proud of themselves. To me, that is success. I felt very honored and humbled when I found out that I had received this award. Teaching is my passion, and it's just wonderful to be recognized. I want to thank all of my coworkers at Keeling Elementary. They are all amazing individuals, and I learn so much from them every single day. I especially want to thank my principal, Annette Orlip, for always believing in me, as well as Kim McDowell and Emily Butel for being my mentors during my first few years of teaching. I hope that this award reminds others that literacy is so important in a child's education. It will impact children for the rest of their lives. It is critical that we instill students with a passion for reading at an early age so that they become confident, successful, and motivated learners.
Hi, my name is Kristen Kavarin, and I have the honor of being the director and special education teacher at Tanque Verde Community Preschool. We are an inclusive, play-based, child-centered program, so children with disabilities learn in classrooms alongside their typical peers. At our preschool, we really view the environment as the third teacher, so we're very, very intentional about the materials that we put out and the way that we present them, because we want children to be so inspired that they can't keep their hands off of things. The other thing that really sets us apart is that we use an emergent curriculum. So we follow an inquiry cycle where we observe children during play, and we look for underlying themes through their play, and then we provide materials that extend on that so that it's not just the adults in the room teaching them knowledge and teaching them skills, it's them finding things within themselves, discovering things within themselves. For example, last year we had a class, and they had been learning about fabrics, and then one child noticed a homeless gentleman walking down Houghton. That turned into a whole conversation about we should buy him a house, we should buy him a car. That all costs too much money, but they realized that he was probably cold. And so it turned into a whole quilt study where we had to estimate how large the quilt was going to be and figure out how large each square had to be. And then we painted them and sewed them together and wrote this gentleman letters to find out what colors he liked. So it was a way to take something that is not typical for 3 to 5-year-olds, but is very, very meaningful to them. So if a child leaves my class identifying themselves as a reader and someone who enjoys reading for the sake of reading, I consider that a success. In terms of return on investment, you can't do much better than directing money to early childhood programs. We know that early exposure to books and oral language tends to lead to the development of literacy skills, and that these skills are imperative for future academic success. We know that how well a child reads in 4th grade is connected to how likely they are to finish high school and their success as adults. And this has implications for society as a whole. With increased literacy comes less crime, less spending on things like Medicaid, and more productivity. But I think what we don't focus on nearly enough is that young children are not just future adults or future 4th graders or even future kindergartners. They are important members of our community right now at 3 and 4 and 5, and they have a voice, and they deserve to be surrounded by adults who value what books and words and language do for them right now, and not just as a foundation for future learning. So to me, what has the biggest effect on helping a child learn to read is viewing learning to read as something we do with children rather than something we do to children. When we treat reading as something magical that we're inviting children to be part of, and we're surrounding them with language that inspires and characters that look like them and ideas that challenge them, how could a child not be passionate? In the spring, when we went fully remote, our staff decided that our main goal would be to maintain relationships with children and families through frequent Google Meets, and we would rethink how to use the home environment to our advantage. We spent time learning new technologies. We created a YouTube channel for teacher read-alouds, for content-focused videos, and a whole video series just for parents. We had to be really intentional at the beginning and teaching kids, we teach them how to identify emotions on a face, but now we have this added thing. So what do our eyes look like when we're upset? How can you tell someone is smiling when they have a mask on? So that has been definitely a challenge. COVID has really changed our whole landscape, not just the day-to-day, but where we see ourselves in the future. Because so many programs have closed, we've lost those connections, those family connections in the community. We have families who now, they can't work because they don't have that care, they don't have stability, which is important for families, employees to be able to work if you don't know where your child's going to be cared for the next week. We are losing educators in K-12 and in early childhood in droves because they don't feel safe. And so just like teachers in K-12, a lot of what we have in the classroom comes out of our paychecks. But I will give a shout out to our district because a lot of programs have closed recently, and we have been able to stay afloat, and we've been able to keep all of our employees even during this crisis. So if we were a private program, we would have gone under last year, I'm sure. So this time right now is so much more important than probably any other time we've had in early childhood education. This is the time to stand up loud and proud and in support of teachers of all ages, but particularly in early childhood, because we know how important it is, how foundational early childhood is. Business leaders in particular have a crucial role in how we shape our conversations around education, and I believe that you can affect real change. This award to me really reflects the hard work of our entire staff over these last few years. I couldn't be the leader I am without them, and I hope that they know that this award is really ours. From the bottom of my heart, thank you very, very much for this platform, and I hope to speak to you all again in some capacity.
Hello, I'm Helene Levy, and I'm happy to be representing my family and our foundation, the Diamond Foundation, and to tell you a little about the matching fund that we established at United Way of Tucson in Southern Arizona a few years ago to support early education in our community. My family has been a champion for early education as a partner with United Way since 2006. If you weren't convinced before about the importance of early education, we hope that Literacy Champions have inspired you. Our schools need our help making sure that every child and family can reach their potential, especially now in this period of coronavirus, as students and their families contend with non-consistent classroom education, which may result in education gaps that will greatly impact our youngest learners. It's my honor this morning to ask you to join my family in supporting child readiness for kindergarten and reading by 3rd grade. Every dollar you contribute today will be matched by the Diamond Challenge Fund. For example, if you give $100 today, your gift will be worth $200. These donations will enable more families to have books to read to their children, more teachers to have access to professional development, and more classrooms will have community support to help teachers and children succeed. Thank you to Women United for leading the charge on this. Please refer to the donation link on your screen, and thank you all for your contributions.
It's wonderful you could all join us today for the 16th annual Business Leaders Breakfast for Early Education. Your support makes all the difference for early childhood education and literacy. Thanks also to our sponsors and to Helene Levy and her family for always supporting early education. It is time for everyone from every sector of government, business, and community to come together. We can see the disparities even more glaringly because of the pandemic, and we need your support now to make sure that our children get the education they need. And here's what you can do to make a difference. First and foremost, you can vote. Vote for those who support early education. You can volunteer your time. That's always going to make a difference in the lives of young children. You can read to children. You can share a book with them. You can join Women United. And you can also call your legislators and tell them how important it is. Thanks for coming today, and thanks for all you're doing to support our youngest children.